The current heel run of Roman Reigns and his Universal title reign has undoubtedly been one of WWE's biggest success stories of the last few years. Just a few short years ago, the fans rejected Reigns as their new babyface champion, but unlike with John Cena, WWE recognised the problem and morphed the big dog into the head of the table, and they've never looked back. It's an exciting time as we head into 2022 with so many questions as to what Reigns' year is going to look like, at least for the first half. We already know that on January the 1st at day one, Reigns will lay the Universal title on the line against smiling Brock Lesnar, and that will be one heck of a jumping off point to get things started in 2022. In this video, I'm going to explore some of the options available for the Tribal Chief in terms of opponents and storylines from day one through to WrestleMania until SummerSlam at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. One of the biggest possible feuds being touted at the moment is that clash between Reigns and Lesnar. As we know, the two will face off at day one in January, but could that feud continue all the way until WrestleMania? No doubt both men have great chemistry in the ring together. We saw that at Crown Jewel, where Reigns beat Lesnar after interference from the Usos at ringside and a very confused Paul Heyman inserting himself into proceedings. Another screwy finish at day one could see Reigns retaining the belt once again, this time with Paul Heyman being destroyed by Lesnar for his insolence and writing him out of the story. Between day one and the Royal Rumble, there should be radio silence from Brock Lesnar, with Reigns bragging about his win despite his special counsel Paul Heyman being collateral damage. Then a surprise return at the Royal Rumble from Lesnar, who can destroy the entire field and win the match, securing himself a place against Reigns at WrestleMania for the Universal title. The Hell in a Cell match concept has lost all meaning as a gimmick. These days it's just rolled out for the hell of it at its own pay-per-view. But here is an opportunity for the cell to mean something again. If Reigns beats Lesnar twice via outside interference, Lesnar should demand that the WrestleMania match be inside the Hell in a Cell cage. A decisive victory over Lesnar without interference solidifies Reigns as the man and WWE's true monster heel, and one that works full time, unlike Lesnar. The alternative outcome is have Lesnar beat Reigns for the Universal Championship. Once the cell is lifted, a crestfallen Reigns could turn to a fit of anger and rage and take that out on both Jimmy and Jey Uso, leading into an eventual match at SummerSlam against Jey after ploughing through Jimmy in the interim. I'll come back to Jimmy and Jey a little bit later on. While The Rock has stated that it's unlikely that he will return in 2022, he could just be working the marks. That dream match between these two cousins could still be on the cards. If WWE does go down the route of booking Lesnar and Reigns for the main event of WrestleMania in 2022, then we could see The Rock making a surprise return on the night, causing a distraction for Reigns, allowing Lesnar to win, and then setting up a huge main event match at SummerSlam between The Rock and Roman Reigns. WWE have stated that they want SummerSlam to be as big as WrestleMania each year, and this match would certainly allow for that to happen in 2022. Alternatively, we could see Reigns defeating Lesnar at day one in January to strengthen his dominance. How incredible would it be for The Rock to return at the Royal Rumble in January, win the match, leading into that huge match between the Samoans at WrestleMania 38. What an incredible pop that would be to see The Rock return at the Royal Rumble and win the entire thing. That showdown, of course, would be absolutely huge, and a win for Reigns over The Rock would absolutely solidify his place in history as one of the greatest heel champions ever. However, WrestleMania 39 in 2023 is in Hollywood, so perhaps it's more likely for the match to take place then, allowing WWE to plant the seeds for that storyline far earlier. If neither of those options are on the table, Drew McIntyre had an awesome run as WWE Champion under very difficult circumstances during the empty arena era, and his next opportunity could be just around the corner. Now Drew Mac is on SmackDown, it might be time for another push to the main event and have him win at the Royal Rumble or overcome the odds in the run-up to WrestleMania for that main event spot, and seeing Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre for the Universal Championship. Seeing Drew Mac win that match and lift the belt in front of 50,000 fans at WrestleMania would be a moment that he truly deserves, and he would be a made man as a main eventer going forward. As great as Drew Mac's WWE title reign was, he deserves that big win in front of thousands of fans on the grandest stage of them all. I'd be interested to see some involvement from Jimmy or Jay resulting in Reigns losing the belt. Then a program between probably Jey Uso and Reigns leading into SummerSlam would be a very interesting feud indeed, what with all of the history that they have together, and Jimmy could be on the sidelines there struggling to decide where his loyalties lie with his cousin, the big dog, the chief, the head of the table, or is it going to be his brother? A feud with Reigns leading into SummerSlam would really make Jey Uso a huge main event level babyface for the rest of his career. If Reigns was to defeat McIntyre at WrestleMania to retain the title in spite of Jey turning against him, a feud between Jey and Reigns with the Universal title on the line would be incredible and a great way to elevate Jey Uso. Reigns could play through babyface opponents in the interim, including Drew McIntyre, to assert his dominance, making it all the sweeter when Jey wins the match and the title in the main event at SummerSlam. An outside option is a match against Big E. At day one, Big E will defend the WWE title against Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens in a triple threat match. E could lose the belt without even being pinned at that show. If that is the case, then a redemption arc would be interesting to see, with Big E winning the Royal Rumble match or even coming a close second and having to defeat the winner in the interim for his spot in the main event against Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Those are just some of the options available for Roman Reigns and WWE heading into 2022. I for one would be happy to see any of those options going down, and WWE have done such a great job of building Reigns up as a dominant heel champion that either way they really can't lose with Roman Reigns in 2022.